So good morning. Wait for 1 or 2 minutes for online folks to respond because some of our regular students are also for this lecture. Now next, yes, good morning Darshan. Let me know, am I audible to you or not? Monday onwards our lectures would be YouTube live obviously. Zoom. Won't be different for you, but for Darshan and what is this? Mukesh, I guess. Name is the other person. There is this other person called Nikhil, but I think he might be watching recorded or something. Yes, audible. Okay. Yes, so let's start. We'll continue from yesterday. Okay. Because the speed should be according to your understanding. Any doubt? Any random doubt also, if you have, answer that. Yes. Darshan, you also, if you have any doubt, let me know. Whatever doubt you have, show me the book first. Introduction to Indian. Yes, correct. I think they changed the page again. See, you are absolutely right. Now let me explain. Just before this, there was a lecture for those who are writing mains this. We were discussing this thinker called Husserl, however you pronounce it. Philosophy is phenomenology. Is there in the chapter also, second, third, last, just before existential. And this is exactly what I said, that very late, in the Western philosophy's growth, phenomenology is exactly what Indian spiritual traditions, in fact, spiritual philosophies they have been teaching, is exactly what somehow they could come up with. That logic we came up with long back in Upanishads, not just Buddha. So point is, this is exactly what contemporary means. Basically, contemporary means 20th century philosophy. 1945, their book came. Okay, 1963. Latest philosopher that we have, I think, Coin. He was alive till 2002 that we study him. So yes, and you will understand when we'll study Western philosophy, especially in phenomenology and existentialism, that it is very close to conscious awareness and stuff. But still, they are not able to connect it very strongly to the spirituality the way we have connected is like Nirvan, Brahm, Kaivalya, and Apavarga and all that. But that statement is correct. You will understand. Darshan is asking some question. Sir, Ajivika and Agyana are also Nastika schools of Indian philosophy. What does it mean? See, these are not prominent schools of Indian philosophy. That's why they are not part of it. Ajivika school is almost like Charvak school. They are basically saying it's more like a nihilistic school that there is nothing wrong, nothing right. Just do whatever you think is right. So they completely reject the law of karma. In India, law of karma is rejected by Charvak. As far as our syllabus is concerned, only Charvak, not even Buddhist Jain. They rejected Vedas or not accepted Vedas, but did not reject law of karma. So law of karma means right, wrong, this, that. Just do whatever you think right and just go ahead. There is nothing. Very similar to what Hume also said in Western, that even cause, effect, there is nothing. It's all just mental. But we'll come to that. And these fellows are not part of our syllabus, so this much is enough for us. Okay. Yes, maybe Ratan Chatterjee, the first chapter, general introduction, is good. Good to start off with. Obviously, you will not be reading it again because it's very basic. But it is good for 1 or 2 questions in prelims and ekad question in GS1. Some to write some masala there, you will get some answer there. You will get masala from here. Okay, but once you understand, no need to kind of talk, go into deep in depth there, because anyway subsequent chapters are going in detail about the same. Yes. Consciousness. where more that that see, not exactly correct, but not wrong also. I'll tell you very briefly. Now, anyway, we are doing introduction, so it's better you have the hang of it. Hang of it. See, all the philosophy, Western philosophy is very sequential in nature. Means, in the sequence of the syllabus also, they have maintained the chronology. Because the philosophy of Western thinker themselves have maintained the chronology. What does that mean? First fellows are ancient philosophers. Okay. Then comes medieval philosophers. Then medieval, see medieval we don't study much because this medieval and modern they confuse most of the time. Like basically Descartes is considered to be modern philosopher, but his modern is some 14th century, 13th century. What way it is modern? And then we have contemporary philosophers. Okay, contemporary philosophers means basically 20th century philosophers. Okay, all their books and everything is in 1900s, 1913, 1939 like that. So these philosophers, so the sequence is like this. Initial philosophy is very metaphysical in nature. Like metaphysical means reality is this. Socrates said something, Plato said something, Aristotle said something. But by the way, when Socrates is there, no other philosophy is prominent, only Socrates. When Plato comes and somehow criticizes or reforms Socrates, then Plato becomes the most important philosopher. Then Aristotle comes, criticizes Plato and becomes important philosopher. But this Aristotle and Plato, they had a huge impact because they were just after Buddha and Mahavir here, almost similar, but they are younger to them, around 100 years difference. After that, because of perhaps maybe from here only it would have gone there, I don't know, because there was connection, the historical, and we don't know, but maybe. So after that, what happened? That philosophy was very well included in Christianity, because Plato, Aristotle was before Jesus Christ. So obviously, when Jesus Christ himself lived moral life, everything, but whenever later thinkers of Christianity created philosophy, because they had to create, because Jesus is not a philosopher, no, he's a moral person. So like that he came, told good things and whatever. But then when philosophy was developed, later metaphysical, like Buddha also, it was later developed, all the philosophical stuff. So they obviously would have got impacted from Aristotle and Plato. So most of the people say that this Christianity is very Aristotelian Christianity. You know, the idea of good, from where the idea of God came. You know, this idea of good is given by Plato. So the idea of God being ultimate reality is also coming from that. But point is, that's how it remained like a around more than 1000 years as a Christianity age. So no serious philosopher was allowed to say anything revolutionary. A lot of nowadays it's very famous. No freedom of expression, especially to intellectuals. Even this Galileo and Copernicus came, they were also almost put on, deathbed. Inko hatao, maro. So they were also very secretly doing. Galileo also did not publish his work for so many years because he was like, वो मार देंगे. पृथ्वी गोल and all that बोलेंगे तो कैसे? वो पृथ्वी चपटी थी तब तक. अभी भी बहुत लोगों के लिए चपटी है. You know this, no? Particular religions. Okay. So, but when Descartes came, these are Renaissance period. So people talk about a lot, especially those who only study sociology and history from left-wing NCRTs, I would call, is that Renaissance, India में Renaissance ही नहीं हुआ, like French Revolution, Renaissance. India में Renaissance 3000 पहले ही हो गया. Buddha is also Renaissance, Mahavir is also Renaissance, but our Renaissance doesn't mean bloodshed. The whole India was Buddhist. Majority India of Jain, Shaivite, Vaishnavite, Basveshar, Then later Kabir, Tukaram, everything is Renaissance. It's a continuous process in India. There was no dark age, so there is no need of sudden Renaissance. It was continuous happening. So many people came, Bhakti movement later on. Shankaracharya came, he also reformed many things. He criticized the ritualistic aspect of Vedanta only. क्या है ritual वगैरह करते रहते? Try to know the Brahma through the process of spiritual. So, point I was talking about, when the Renaissance came, now Renaissance again, they were very intellectual in nature. Now, when I say intellectual means the use of buddhi only is prominent there. Okay, so from Descartes, who is considered of father of modern philosophy, Western philosophy, it continued. It's like, and because it also was parallel with the scientific development. Scientific development is like, whether this is true, false, this, that, binary, is there, not there, like that. 0, 1. The thinking is binary. So all the philosophies are like that. Mind, body. Then Hegel came as dialectic. Everything is, Kant is little different, but still very intellectual in nature. Knowledge as some 2D process. Some information is there. You receive the data, you have knowledgeable. That trend was kind of opposed. Even later come linguistic. Linguistic are like, आपने बहुत ज़्यादा बोल दिया, इसमें सब complicated statements you have been giving, तो उसका कोई मतलब ही नहीं निकल रहा है. So let me analyze the language itself. So और जो है nuanced approach में चले गए, broader picture भूल गए. So that's why phenomenology came later on. They were very close to what? Phenomenology means, when Gandhiji was walking Dandi March, that time phenomenology was coming. And phenomenology is telling what Buddha told, what Shankaracharya told, what Patanjali told. The experience is the most important thing, not knowledge. And it's not mind, it is consciousness. It's a live activity. And consciousness is not entity, it is activity. So you will come to it. It's an active part of things. It receives, responds. It's a continuous process. So consciousness cannot be abstracted out from the reality. So consciousness is always consciousness of something. Like that. So ये तो वही बात होगी. Okay, and then existential philosopher also very similar to it. Being in the world and stuff like that you will see in the syllabus. So yes, that's how they came. But later on again, even now, whatever scholarly articles that they have in philosophy, they study philosophy, Western mind. Indians live philosophy. That's the difference. When Buddha says suffering is there is suffering in the world, there is cause of suffering, there is cessation of suffering, there is way to attain the cessation, he will live that life. When Shankaracharya says that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, he will live that life. He will not just say and do the stuff. No, that's the difference. Okay, so it's about knowledge, data as against experience. Mind, consciousness. That's the difference. Socrates is asking something. Sir, if we could also hear the questions raised by the offline students in the classroom would be great help. Okay, I'll try to repeat what they have asked. He's saying, because you are not audible there. So, okay, so what they were basically asking, the Western philosophy in later part came very closer to Indian philosophy, or they almost talked about what Indian philosophy has been talking for a long time. This is what it is written in the book called Datta and Chatterjee. So that's what we were discussing. I hope clear. Okay, anything else? Any term? Because we are again just trying to have introduction. Let's not philosophy. Okay, what is this philosophical approach? When we say philosophical approach, we discussed this later yesterday a little bit, but what do you mean by philosophical approach? Yes, critical towards something. Okay. Analyzing. See, philosophical, this basically means try to be as less preconceived as possible. Critical doesn't mean opposing. Critical means let's not assume things. Let's not go along with my previous notions. Try to see things afresh. फिलोसफी का पूरा काम ही पूरा वही है. ठीक है. मेटाफिजिक्स एंड एपिस्टेमोलॉजी में क्या फर्क है? व्हाट इज मेटाफिजिक्स, व्हाट इज एपिस्टेमोलॉजी? स्टडी ऑफ रियलिटी. Theory of knowledge. See, study of reality is the process. Metaphysics is their version of reality. Version, my version of history, your version of history, like that. It's version of reality. What is real? So metaphysics is not that process, to some extent yes, but it is not study of reality, theory of reality. So after study, you come up with some theory, epistemological and metaphysical analysis to understand anything. Yes, that is what philosophy is explaining. So, okay, and we also discussed that I think in first orientation lecture, but still I would like to ask you, why philosophy? Now let's see, do you really remember the, not as the information I am asking, I am still asking general person. You might be living your life, struggles, fights, whatever, desires, goals, wishes, hurdles, everything is there. Why philosophy? What is philosophy? Forget about it, because philosophy is not just metaphysics and epistemology. No, that is just for sake of syllabus. Philosophy is an approach, right? So why philosophy? Why history? Okay, let me ask you, why history? Why to study history? Why to keep it in syllabus? Yes, one by one. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so you're saying, so you are saying learning from the past so that we can go ahead and all that. Okay, in life. Okay, what do you? Okay, so you are saying history is something where you see how society has evolved into this thing. Society in general, but okay. But my question is, even if you don't know, is it difficult to live the life? Why? What is difficult? Some tribal in Sentinelese Island, is it talking about their history? Is he talking about their history? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so what is the problem in repeating the mistake? Okay. So what do you mean by authentic life? So do you mean to this somebody is doing mistakes every year, is not living authentic life, or somebody who has never done any mistake, only doing authentic life? No, see, this repeating the same mistake for you only when you keep eye on history, then only you will understand it is repeating. Otherwise, you just whatever mistake is coming, you are trying to overcome it and going ahead. Even same mistake, what's the problem? See, what else we are doing in life anyway? As a human being, what great thing we have doing? Tell me. Previous life, ancestors. Huh. Yes. Huh? So what's the problem in that? No, no, that is your definition of achhe. You mean to say people in North Sentinel's Island, you might be knowing about it. So the island in Andaman Nicobar where government of India has not allowed anybody to go. So do you want to kind of bring some knowledge to them or let them live the way they want to live? Why? So if you think your is great, Then why don't you, a little forcefully at least, bring the great there? That also you are only telling. Animals are not telling that you are different. So how can you experience that animals are telling that you are different? What do you do otherwise? Why do you earn money for food only? Not 70-80%. Everybody does it. Except sannyasis. So real human beings are those who are philosophers or sannyasis. There is this movie, if you write down, if you get a chance, please watch. This movie name is Peaceful Warrior. Must movie है, देख लेना. Okay, let's see somewhere. On the other way, an intellectual person who questions everything, as in the way how becomes interested in philosophy gradually. Okay, ठीक है. Because philosophy is an approach by which he can find out the reality through arising questions. ठीक है, that is also okay. But this thing is, here also there are some assumptions. Like being intellectual is something good. Raising question is something good. Why? Who told? Who is more peaceful? The dog on the street who is sleeping now, or you? Or you means, I mean you, me, everybody. Or some turtle in the ocean, just swimming, eating, sleeping, whatever. Or you, all the time thinking about kaise hoga, kya hoga. Who is peaceful? Who is happy? So what have we done as such that we should call ourselves great? Only one thing, if you go to the fundamentals, which can tell us that we have to somehow call ourselves great, but that's not moral. That is, we can control them, we can kill them, we can kill all the animals in the world. That too without any special efforts. Just wait for another 100 years. And we have, see the problem. This is exactly, this is how philosopher thinks. All the assumptions that you think that to be most aspirational and right. Why? Whatever assumption, see, to that extent we will criticize. I'm not saying no philosopher is criticizable, because I can tell you all philosophers can be criticized by a sannyasi, because in sannyasi you will not find any problem, because he is leaving everything, leaving as in living, living and leaving everything both with whatever he says. I mean sannyasi means, I mean to say anybody who is a spiritually aligned realized person. I am asking from different point of view. In the same movie there is a dialogue, the difference between the DNA, the difference of the kind of DNA or the type of DNA or the DNA between a African elephant and Indian elephant is much more than the difference of DNA between a chimpanzee and human being. Google पे जाके check करना. The DNA difference between African elephant and Asian elephant, the DNA difference is more than percentage में than the DNA difference between chimpanzee and us. So basically तो कुछ फर्क है ही नहीं. What's the difference between Asiatic elephant and this elephant? Nothing. You can breed them together. See, our difference is packaging difference. What do you think if you go to the jungle, core jungle, and manage karo ki you survive there for 10 years with no resources from outside? Would there be any difference between you and chimpanzee as such, appearance wise? So you are cutting jungles, you are limiting yourself in a cement jungle, and then you are saying, see how different they are. No difference. Cognitive revolution and all that is there, but chimpanzees are anyway happy because you are using your cognitive ability for what? Your happiness or something else? I mean, your means not personal only always, society's happiness or your happiness. इसके अलावा किसी चीज के लिए are you using your intellect? are you using your intellect for anything other than happiness, pleasantness to you and the society? Human beings, basically. Are you using anything for other than anything, other than anything than this? No. So what's the difference? Chimpanzee also doing the same. These are the questions generally a philosopher would come up with. Like why? That's the reason. Why are we doing what we're doing? And ultimately, when you know that I am important, my rights and everything, and ultimately you know, जाना तो सबको ही है. So इतना फिर see, if you do all the things, you destroy all the things, everything, and again you are going to go. Why did you do it all that? You mean to say, barring some basic issues, North Sentinelese Island tribals, hardcore tribals, they are living unhappy life and they are really aspiring to be us? No. So why do we think we are the great? This is exactly, there is the term, derogatory तो नहीं, complainatory term है, complaint करने लायक, इसको बोलते हैं elitist approach. That where you are, you consider it's the top, then everybody else is obviously below. You're getting my point? Like पहले के ज़माने में to have headgear, pagdi or whatever, when British were there, is considered to be some illiterate people doing it. Even now, we show people wearing pagdi means कोई गांव के होंगे. But उसके पहले क्या था? Only Raja can wear it. So you only decide up and down, and then you say I am up. Because space में there is no up and down. You know this? Space में there is no north, south, east, west, up, down, anything. You know? Or you don't know? Think. How would you decide in space what is up, what is down? How would you decide? So, there is nothing. Actually, there is nothing. Earth to Mars, there is this, but where is up and down? I am saying. There is north and south. There is no north and south. There is only this way or that way. We have north and south because we have, geography में आप पढ़ोगे ये, we have decided North Pole. Okay, just call North Pole, South Pole. What's the difference? Just name. If you start calling North Pole, South Pole, and South Pole, North Pole, what's the difference? Only thing is we have to change our books accordingly. So Antarctica is in. This is CSAT question, and you have to see. Let's do a small puzzle type. I'll ask question. Fact is, the North Pole is actually called South Pole. Is that question? Puzzle. Second thing you have to follow is South Pole has to be called North Pole. And whatever question I am asking, you have to give wrong answer. Okay? Done? Three conditions agreed. You have to consider North Pole as South Pole and South Pole as North Pole. These are new names, right? And you have to give wrong answer to my question. Everybody ready here? So tell me, where is Antarctica? South Pole, yes. Nothing, no problem. North Pole, okay. South Pole. I don't know, we have to wait a little. Let us see whatever answer they'll give. We'll see. Why North Pole? Where is Antarctica actually? Okay. So according to new row, where is it? And we have to give wrong answer means. If North Pole is the answer, wrong answer is South Pole, no? Answer is South Pole. Northeast क्या होता है? दर्शन? See, दिस इज लिटरली थिंकिंग, लिटरेचर पर्सन थिंग्स लाइक दिस। जो है उसमें कुछ नहीं, थर्ड कुछ लेके आएंगे, लॉजिक वॉजिक बाद में, ठीक है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट नहीं, तो आंसर इज साउथ पोल। एनीवे, जस्ट ब्रेन ट्विस्टर लिटिल बिट। ये ऐसे, ये तो नहीं आता, लेकिन ऐसा वाला आता है इस साइड में। एंड नीचे आएंगे अंटार्कटिका इज ऑन साउथ पोल, कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है ना। एनीवे, तो साउथ पोल इज द रॉन्ग आंसर टू दिस। माय पॉइंट इज, what is this north pole and south pole? Who gave the names? That means everything we only name. So what is the, see, we created our, it's like this. You might have, you might not know some games, like for example, you don't know how to play Ludo, and those who know, they enjoy a lot. But aap lagta hai, what is this nonsense? Or you don't know classical music, you are like, why this, this normally they can sing, no, because you don't know the taste of it. So basically, who created classical music? You only. And who are admiring? You only. So within your community, you can have gradings. Why are you saying that you are great than the Kokila singing there? Because in your ear, human sounds looks, feels better. It's okay. Have you ever asked her or him, whatever gender of the Kokila is? No. So basically what we are telling, these are the questions philosopher asks, and they will conclude. One thing is very sure, whatever we are saying, no, always say that this is from that particular point of view only. Don't say that it is absolute point of view. Exactly, if everything is everything is relative, so let's find absolute. एग्जैक्टली उसके बियॉन्ड जा सकते हैं क्या? उसका एफर्ट तो करना पड़ेगा. Some have put efforts and come up with some conclusion. That's why I always said, whenever I'm discussing about the limitations of human, I always said the spiritually realized being, don't take them here. They are different. Okay. In the same movie, as I said, there is another quote. The difference between a chimpanzee and an ordinary human being is very less very less than the difference between ordinary human being and Socrates or Buddha. So the difference between chimpanzee and ordinary human being is very less. So ordinary human being is actually close to chimpanzee and very far from Buddha. That's correct. Spiritually, because what we also do normally, biologically, eat, sleep, and procreate. Or eat, sleep, sex. 3 things. Structure you only make. See, you sit here or you sit in AC chair or a inclined chair. Ultimately, we will discuss Indian philosophy, Western philosophy, and somebody who is sitting under the tree only will discuss Indian philosophy, Western philosophy. And you cannot compare that the person will understand less than you, or maybe somebody sitting in inclined chair. So if it is about just superficial experience, see some like some movie like what we can say, a movie which is hardcore based on story. You watch it in AC 7D theater with inclined chair, or watch it on laptop. Ultimate impact would be almost same. It depends on how you perceive it. I am talking about the real movies. I mean stuff movies. The superficial movies, okay, grandeur and all that, because then it's not real, tender only. What I'm saying is, we are only doing this. We are also doing only these 3 things. Every decision of us, either for food, for sleep, for sex. That's all. So what's the? Some of us talk about morality, good, little bit improvement. Some of us talk about not just human morality, but general, universal. I mean, all the living beings' morality. Slightly better. That I am. Well, this is my personal opinion, but this direction I agree. This is evolution, but we, as far we are not evolved. We have just corrected ourselves. Like instead of hair, let's have growth. Different. Otherwise, ordinary human being के दिमाग में एक ही होता है. So some of us have very well focused, whom we really admire, moral leaders, and highest are the real spiritual leaders. I am talking. Forget about the Babas. I am not talking. There are problems everywhere, but I am talking about somebody like Siddharth Gautam, somebody like Vardhaman Mahaveer, Shankaracharya, Tukaram, and all the people who really lived life like that. Ramakrishna Paramahans, Swami Vivekananda. These people never bothered about food or anything of that sort. Then only we can say that some evolution is happening. Evolution, I'm saying. So that's why if you start with spirituality, philosophy, and if you really are impacted by philosophy, it will lead to spirituality. And that's what we are going to see today, I mean, in the flow, what this spirituality stuff in the context of India, because that is a part of syllabus. So we saw, what all things we saw yesterday? Introduction to Indian. Yeah, no, all the basic is correct. General answer was. But what exactly do you remember? Yesterday's stuff. Socrates, Darshan, Mukesh. Yes. So, Pramana. Praman and all that. Then? Yes. Theory of causation. Then in causation we find Satkaryavad, Asatkaryavad, right, like that. Now one more thing about causation. Just to today also we will not get time. Causation. So let's take example of clay pot. So what all things led to this? Tell me. नहीं न्याय ने भी दिया हुआ है एग्जैक्टली से, बट इट इज वेरी बेसिक इन इंडियन फिलोसॉफी, whole of philosophy. School of thought, astic nastic, yes Darshan, correct, that also we saw yesterday. Forget about the book, tell me, one is clay, very good. Where is the pot? Pot is made later. Where is the pot? Okay, so you are saying, should we say all the instruments required? Okay, then he is also one of the instruments only. His skill only used. He did not become that. His skill became that. Skill is instrument only. Yes or no? Isn't skill instrument from this perspective? He is not the reason behind it. Why? Because it's not he became something. His skill as an instrument became that. Then that is, for example, storing of water, है ना? Accordingly also it will change, no? Because the matka for storing of water will be different, and it for some same for maybe storing milk, it will be different. Accordingly, quality and clay would change. So, and keeping that thing in mind, how much liter of water, only the shape will be decided and everything decided. So basically, form or shape. That is also, and where this is a very interesting thing. This form is already there in which the clay got into. That's how they generally, all the philosophers take it. Slowly you will understand why it is like that. Water, clay, mud, labor, water, clay, mud, labor, sunlight. Okay, ठीक है. All material things will come into it. Water, sunlight and all will come here, because sunlight as an instrument to dry it. No? Like that. Labor will come here only as an instrument only. Labor. So basically, there are, this is what Aristotle also gave and Nyaya also gave. This is basic understanding of cause and effect always. Okay, that's why I'm telling this. This is very uniform. There are little bit changes here and there, but basically this. And I'll tell you the terms for this. Then you'll understand. Number one is called material cause. Right? So anything that constitute that thing in materially is a material. Making sense? Then comes efficient cause. Efficient cause in the sense the creator, the skill, the instruments which allowed that activity to happen. Efficiency is always of activity. So the word efficient is used to indicate activity. Right? Then this is called formal cause. Formal means form. Now, form, for sake of understanding, you can take it as a shape. But form is not just shape, you will understand when we study Aristotle. For sake of this thing, just understand shape here. Formal, form. That form is completely different. Form, the shape of this thing is not in material, not in efficient. Material, formal cause. And then purpose, it is called final cause. And this naming is used throughout the philosophy. The most discussed is this. And this and this. So, ye do. Like for example, this matter, like atoms basically, plastic atoms, hydrogen atoms, blah blah blah. These atoms are material cause of the world. Yes, making sense? They are considering all the atoms together, that's okay, right? Material cause of the world. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है? World as a one matka. So what is efficient cause of the world? Human beings, how human beings are part of the world. No? Human beings created the world. Like how potter is for pot, human being is for the world. No, human beings themselves are created. For creation, they are not creators. So efficient cause is someone who created it. You can say Big Bang. Some people say it is Big Bang. Some people say it is God. So normally efficient cause argument is also given for the God. Because world तो है, किसने बनाया? पक्का किसी ने तो बनाया होगा. वो किसी ने मतलब God. Like that they give proofs for existence of God, paper 2 and paper 1 also sometimes the argument comes. Easy to remember, don't worry. So these two are discussed the most in the terms of world, because this clay pot is just an example. Ultimately we will talk about what? World. Then formal cause, final cause. In the context of world we don't discuss much. This is just the listing of cause according to Aristotle. Okay. So that was the thing when I was talking about causation. I said that this causation is But and this Satkaryavad, Asatkaryavad is the debate about this cause only. Whether the material cause, effect pre-exist in the material cause is the question. It's about material thing. They are not talking about whether formal cause is this what is existing in formal cause. No, they are talking about this matter pre-existing there in the clay. So that's why sometimes it is answer is that we saw yesterday, and we'll see it later also. Any doubt? One more thing, maybe some repetition, but it's okay because these are very basics. We talked about why philosophy, that's okay. Why metaphysics? Metaphysics मतलब क्या? Yes, but what is the what is the meaning of the word metaphysics? Now tell. What is metadata? So data beyond data. Okay. So what is metaphysics? Physics or physical world? Beyond this universe. See, most of the time they use the word in a wrong sense, and we have to justify. People use it different way, and we have to listen to what exactly they mean by, because it's not well established. It's just a new thing. Let them explain first. Basically, the term meta is used, that is beyond or behind. You know what is data and metadata difference? Like for example, I'll tell you. That's how Excel sheet is normally. So there is serial number, there is name, age, optional, marks, right? Here, or roll number for that matter. Should be 1, 2, 3, right? Now what happens? Where would the data collected? Here, Mr. A, age is 35, optional is philosophy, mark is 300. B is 32, optional is psychology, marks are 300. Like that? This is data. What is this then? If I'm asking you, yeah, what all data you are asking from the people? Give me the list of the columns and rows. He gave the list of the columns. Name. You ask them name, age, mark, वगैरह. What is this list called? Is it data? It is data of data. In that context, it is beyond. It is behind and beyond. This will regulate everything. These are physical things. Understanding के लिए, लिखना नहीं है कहीं, बस समझने के लिए. So it is beyond. Yes, beyond physical science. Right? So beyond physical world means what? Is it imaginary? It has to be still logical. So if this chair exists, okay, why, how, what is the basic element, what all things it is coming to, what are the cause behind? Now you are not able to see the cause, like material cause, you are segregating it. Material cause, formal cause, the chair is made up of. But are you able to actually show in physical world formal cause or efficient cause? Difficult, because it is in the form of abstract idea. These kind of understanding is what metaphysics will talk about, because that's why metaphysics is about reality. And reality, the word reality is because the physical world is considered to be appearance. Because physical world is appearance, we cannot go with this. We have to go behind or beyond that. So wherever the word reality comes, always remember it is against. Reality means as against appearance. No, where is the pot of pot is a part of physical world, but what are the story behind pot is not physical, that you are thinking and deriving out. Okay, pot is in the physical world, that's okay, but is the formal cause, is the form of it, is the skill, are you able to see it, are you able to feel it? So, and by the way, this segregation, this is the cause, this is the, are you able to actually see that cause in pot? No, that you have to metaphysically reduce, if not imagine, right? Something which explains that physics could not. Yes, like that day I said, no, if you break this chair, you will get small parts of plastic. What happens if you break it? Smaller parts. If you break it further, because to know is to break it. Okay, then you will reach to atom. If you break it, subatomic particle. Okay, if you break it further, because see, initially only philosopher used to say that everything is made up of atom. No scientist, physical scientist was saying that, because only observation was not able to tell that, unless we had instruments. Without instrument, philosopher could tell. Why? Logic, intuition, rationality, thinking, these things, thinking beyond physics. So ultimately now they are string theory. They are coming to the conclusion that the so-called matter is also not matter, just vibrations. Abhi, if somebody comes and tells you that this chair is actually some vibrations only, you'll be like, what are you talking about? Are you able to see any vibration there? No. Are you able to feel when you sit on it? No. Then, but science is telling us. But the same thing if philosopher would have told us, they're like, all rubbish. That's what many philosophers also say. No, everything is just energy, 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 just matter of concentration. How would you respond to them? Point is, the endeavor, the effort to go behind these is philosophy. And philosophy is always assisted by new and new scientific, what we can say, scientific discoveries. Darshan is saying God particle. Yes. Why it is called God particle? Because little mysterious. Like that particle gives, you know this. You know what is God particle? What does that do? What does this boson do? By the way, that boson is from boson, the word boson. Yes, in the honor of Mr. Bose. Now, you know what Higgs boson do? So what do you know about Higgs boson? Only name. Darshan, Socrates, Mukesh, what does Higgs boson do? जरा बताओ हमें, प्लीज एनलाइटन अस। बहुत लेट। इट प्रोवाइड्स मास। प्रोवाइड्स मास का क्या मतलब है? टू whom? लाइक इट प्रोवाइड्स, यहां से हिग्स बोसोन आया और इसको मास दे दिया, राइट? बट किसको दे दिया जब वहां पे मास ही नहीं था? तो समझ में आया? आर यू एबल टू इमेजिन? You know what is the mass of electron? No, number, forget about number. Philosophers, good thing about philosophy, we don't get into details much. We are just okay with if you know the broad picture. Yes, Darshan is already answering. Provides mass to proton. Electron has almost zero mass. Now, if something is having zero mass, how can we say that it exists? Goes against science then. No, it has charge. Okay, so charge is without something being physically existing, only charge is enough for you to physically exist. And that too negative charge, not even positive charge. So point is, these are the questions basically. If only if, normally if, unless you have this way of thinking, you will not be able to ask these questions to so-called universal truths, you know, celebrated Nobel truths, Nobel's Prize winner truths. That mass, Higgs boson give mass to protons. Means proton did not have mass before. So who is giving you mass? If you already have, then why are you asking? You're just saying you're adding, पहले 1 लीटर दूध था फिर और 1 लीटर डाला. Are okay. Do quarks have mass? That's the question. No, from the basic this Higgs boson stuff, the basic analysis of this thinker, basic direction of these thinkers is exactly this. What? From where the mass is coming. Because when we have this conservation of mass and energy, we are talking about somewhere, and Einstein also somewhere equated that mass and E is equal to mc square. Mass and energy is interconvertible, right? So, but from where energy to mass is, what makes energy? Can you create from energy to mass? Mass to energy, we have how we know how to convert. Tell me any example where you convert mass to energy. Yes, you just burn LPG, you will create energy, and LPG will be burnt. But tell me from energy to mass. Big Bang is theory. What are you talking about? How can water vapor to ice is energy to mass? It is just same mass solidified. First it was in vapor form, now it is in solid form. You just took away the heat energy out of it. How can you convert energy to mass? That was the basic question they were discussing. Mass to energy we somehow understood by burning and things like that. Mostly burning. What about this? Difficult. So point I was talking about is, these are the approach is what you should go with. Philosophy means this approach. Be it Indian, this thing, question, why, how? And then every argument has to be logical to accept everything. Correct? Making sense? Okay. Now, as we were talking about the spiritual stuff, you might have heard these words. Okay, soul, Atma, Jiva, Purusha, self or consciousness, mind. No, I. They are all same. That's why I'm writing. Truth is not coming here. I self हो गया और basically individual. Hmm? No. See, try to. I'll come to it. Like just I'm writing randomly. We'll try to understand what and why and how do we use this. Any other word? There are many more words than Sakshi, Drashta, and so many other words. Being is there. Basically, yes, that's what I'll tell you. All normally used for human being. Hmm? In a different way. Sometimes a very different connotation also. Basically, जिसको normally हम ये दो famous है सबसे. तो अलग अलग थिंकर उसको अलग अलग, सेल्फ भी वही है, वो तो फिर अलग हो गया. Spirit is the word, yes, spirit. From where this English word spiritual have come? तो ये सब वर्ड किस चीज के लिए है? ह्यूमन बीइंग और वो सब मैंने बताया. और एक एग्जांपल देता हूं आपको समझना है. वो तो वो टेक्निकल टर्म्स है, वो बाद में देखेंगे. ठीक है, these are like simple terms. Now tell me, there is this human being. Okay, must playing football and all that. In the morning, afternoon, maybe age 25. Afternoon you went. You came to know that this human being is no more. गया. बहुत होते हैं, हर रोज एक आध होता है. हाँ. And heart attack means just some functioning stopped. Oh, forget about heart attack. Somebody just suffocated him like this. होता ना, मूवी दिखाते पिलो वगैरह रख, सच में भी होता है, यू नो ना. बात करेंगे. हाँ, तो सफोकेशन से मर गया. ठीक. Now tell me, as far as your understanding is, this minus this equal to what? Nothing means if this is nothing, that is 0. So if this is 0 means both are equal, because only x minus x is equal to 0. So this is also x and this is also x. So that means both are same. Both same. He lost nothing to become this. He is saying consciousness. Okay. Nothing तो नहीं हो सकता. Because if nothing, then this and this same. So why don't you have dinner with this person also? Or lunch, you just went to his home afternoon to have lunch with him. Yes? Yes? Pran, somebody is saying prana. Basically in Sanskrit, prana means shwas, breath, nothing else. Pran doesn't mean what we understand in Hindi. Pran le liya. Basically pran means breath. Somebody said soul, very good. Said something. Okay, Atma. So, no, we'll use the word Atma because soul and Atma also some places means different. So, better. Then we can say Chetana. Consciousness is Chetana also, but uh, in Indian philosophy, mostly Chetana is used. Jeev also. In Marathi, we use this word Jeev. Jeev is Chetana only. Marathi, उसका प्राण ले लिया, उसका जीव ले लिया, ऐसे भी बोलते हैं. Jeev means some sense of energy, some activity, some this thing. Please try to comprehend that thing before naming it. I am not denying any name because the moment you name one, the other name would be negated unnecessarily. Like you say, no, it's not Atma, it is soul. Okay, but then what about consciousness? So consciousness also. So better accept everything rather than I am not naming that thing which left. I am just trying to describe it so that you have a comprehensive understanding of that thing. He also left the sense of I that he had. Now, who will say this thing will never be able to say I? Others will say Mr. X, Miss S, whatever. But I nahi aayega. I or self. Now, this will be only this because it's a body now. The body is just a matter. Like chair उठाओ ऐसे body उठाओ. हम नॉर्मली ऐसे नहीं बोलते ना कि इसको उठाओ, बोलते हैं डेरोगेटरी टर्म में बोलते हैं. मतलब इनको ले जाइए ऐसे बोलते. उठाओ क्या होता है? जब चीज हो तभी उठाते हैं. बॉडी को तो उठाते हैं, उसको बॉडी को ऐसे नहीं बोलते कि इनके साथ चलो. यस. तो दीज आर द कंटेक्स्ट. और क्या क्या है इसमें? तो सोल, जीवा. अभी ये पुरुष है इज अ स्पेसिफिक टर्म यूज फॉर कॉन्शियसनेस बाय सांख्य. तो दोनों सेम ही समझ लो एक तरीके से. ठीक है, पुरुष है बट कंटेक्स्ट वही है. आई एम राइटिंग इट बिकॉज वो स्पेसिफिकली अलग यूज करते हैं इसलिए. कॉन्शियसनेस हो गया. नाउ माइंड नॉट वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड बट वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी के पास उतना वर्ड ही नहीं था. वो तो हमेशा माइंड यूज करते. he put mind here because or I put mind here is because वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी में आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि why mind is also considered similar like that because their understanding is very crude. They don't understand difference between mana and atma. They're like same ही है ना, body के अलावा जो भी है वो mind है. That's why they have mind and body duality all the time. Chitta also, but chitta is little different, but ठीक है we can say. स्पिरिट तो हम बोल ही गए, चेतना है ना. हाउ नॉन सेल्फ इट विल बी. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय नॉन सेल्फ? So that's a self. So that's what we are writing. No, this minus this means self. Something that this has and this doesn't have is only self. Once a person is there, nobody addresses him with his name. Everybody addresses that the body is there. The body is taken to commission. The body is burnt. Yes. So the body. Correct. This you will exactly keep this in mind on next lecture when we'll discuss Charvak. Charvak will say, after this, even if this equation is true, once this is happened, इसको डिस्कस भी क्यों करना है? गया, टाटा, बाय बाय, खत्म, है ना. ठीक है, इंडिविजुअल भी गया, राइट. नाउ दैट पर्सन इज नॉट इंडिविजुअल एनीमोर. नाउ इंडिविजुअल इज लाइक सेल्फ ओनली बेसिकली. हियर ओनली वी कैन राइट, but little connotation is different. I'll explain it later. Why, from where the word individual. Yes, ego also. Now here ego, see one more thing, let me be very clear because the ego word is always many places used in question paper and most of the people don't understand the word ego. Now what happens when like you are studying very hard and 1 or 2 lectures you could not come for the lecture. So you're asking him notes. He is not giving. You're like ego है इसको बहुत. बोलते हैं ना, वो तो बात भी नहीं कर रहे हैं मेरे से, बहुत ईगो है उसको. वो ईगो यहाँ पे बात नहीं हो रही है. नॉट एट ऑल. उसको पहले दिमाग से फिलोसॉफी की क्लास के अंदर आते. ईगो मतलब वो नहीं. ईगो का संस्कृत वर्ड है अहम. ओके. नाउ इन नॉर्मल पार्लांस इन हिंदी एंड मराठी एंड अदर लैंग्वेजेस, aham also used in the terms of ego only. Inflated sense of self, superiority sense of self. In normal parlance mein we use this. Should not be like that. Aham means sense of identity as me. So the sense of I that you have is called ego. Please drill this thing in your mind before you go ahead in Indian and Western. Ego is not about ego. It is about sense of identity, sense of I, sense of self that is ingrained in you. तो बताइए, चेयर को ईगो हो सकता है क्या? Can chair have ego? No. Can dog have ego? हो सकता है. No, नहीं होता. Because sense of self only comes with rational animals. Rational animal is only human being till now. वो अच्छा है बुरा है वो बात नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं. नहीं तो आप बोलेंगे थोड़ी देर पहले तो बोल रहे थे कि ह्यूमन बीइंग कुछ नहीं. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग ह्यूमन बीइंग्स में ही सेंस ऑफ ईगो है. तो सेंस ऑफ ईगो हैज नथिंग टू डू विद कंसीट. ओके. और क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में? अभिमान बोलते हैं क्या? नहीं, अभिमान ही बोलते हैं ना, जिसको हम नॉर्मली ईगो बोलते हैं. सेंस ऑफ सुपीरियरिटी मतलब क्या? अभिमानी. हाँ, जो भी है. मराठी में अभिमान मीन्स सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट. मराठी में गर्व बोलते हैं, बट हिंदी में गर्व मीन्स प्राइड. यू नो, मराठी में गर्व बोलते हैं ना, गर्व मीन्स ईगो है, बहुत ईगो है, बहुत गर्व है इस पे. बट वो गर्व इज निगेटिव इन मराठी. इन हिंदी गर्व मीन्स प्राउड. गर्व से कहो हम भारतीय. तो अहम मीन्स सेल्फ, एंड दैट्स व्हाई अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. मैं ब्रह्म हूं. अस्मि हूं होता है जैसे भी उसका. अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. तो अहम मीन्स अहंकार. अहंकार मीन्स सेंस ऑफ आई, नॉट अहंकार. अहंकारी भी तो बोलते हैं. हाँ, अहंकार इज द वर्ड फॉर, बट अहंकार में थोड़ा हाई लेवल हो जाता है. ईगो से भी ज्यादा ही मतलब अहंकार. तो वो सब हमें ये इसमें यूज नहीं करना है. अहम मीन्स सॉरी, ईगो मीन्स अहम. अहम मीन्स सेंस ऑफ आई. ठीक है. ओके. So these terminologies please keep in mind, because this is going to be used in our many, especially Indian philosophy. Everybody uses this in some or the other way. Basically what they are talking about is sense of that consciousness, sense of I, sense of chetana, okay, sense of liveliness, sense of something that makes you respond. You know, there is some sense of autonomy. All falls under this. Okay. Now the same thing is termed by many in a different way. That will come one by one. You'll understand. Okay. Any doubt till here? कुछ ऐसे random doubt आ रहा है? Yes. Buddha answer is this concept in the sense of pancha skandha. And in first place बुद्धा है ना, किसी को एग्री नहीं करेगा. दैट इज, ये अपने आप में एक फिक्स चीज थोड़ी है जिसमें से ये फिक्स चीज अब माइनस कर दे। ये अपने आप में ये ऐसा है ही नहीं, ये ऐसे है, इसमें से ये ऐसे है ही नहीं, ये ऐसे ऑल चेंजिंग हुआ है। अभी इसमें माइनस करोगे तो क्या रहेगा? तो यस पूनम, थैंक यू। तो अहं सॉरी, ये पर्टिकुलर थिंग जो क्षणिकवाद इज द वर्ड फॉर दिस, बुद्धिज्म क्षणिकवाद, विल कम टू इट। क्षणिक मीन्स मोमेंटरी एंड वाद इज इजमनेस, जो भी है, theory of momentariness और momentarism, जो भी theory of momentariness, that's how they use it। तो वो डिस्कस करेंगे। सो बेसिकली इसमें से ये माइनस ही नहीं होगा तो ये बात ही नहीं करेंगे। एवरीथिंग इज फ्लक्स, और कहीं कुछ न जा रहा है कहीं कुछ आ रहा है। एवरीथिंग इज फ्लक्स, देन एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग एवरीथिंग। लाइक इफ देयर इज दिस ocean, you took out the bucket of water and put it here, क्या फर्क पड़ा? है तो ओशन में ही। So and you took out the water in a bucket, till the time it is in bucket, maybe it has some segregation, identity, basically this is identity, like I am different from the ocean, but as long as it is back to the ocean, no identity. So when the bucket, basically what they are talking about is, when the bucket of water from here goes to here, it is not that some particular thing goes from here to here like a soul. It is same water from here and there. Basically it is like this only. So because you cannot decide what is water, there is no boundary, everything is flux. Anyway, we'll come to it abhi, kyunki one by one we'll go for it. Okay, yes, meaning little, can you be a little louder? Purusha is being only. The word Purusha का मीनिंग ही संस्कृत में being है, ह्यूमन नहीं है। ह्यूमन बीइंग बाद में यूज होते होते ह्यूमन बीइंग पे आ गया, और आजकल यूज होते होते पुरुष मीन मेन ह्यूमन बीइंग पे आ गया। बेसिकली पुरुष मीन्स कॉन्शियसनेस, पुरुष और चेतना। यस, एंड अंजलि इज ऑल्सो पुरुष। समझ में आया? यू विल से नो नो नो, वो तो महिला है, वो तो सोशल कनोटेशन है। अल्टीमेटली वो पुरुष ही है, एंड पुरुष दैट टू नॉट जस्ट you and him, every human being is not just human being, every being, conscious being is पुरुष। ठीक है? What is bondage? Engaged or caged? Okay, is bondage positive term or negative for you? Because whenever somebody asks me, depends. Okay, tell me your point of view. Don't talk about world. Okay, Darshan is saying bondage is emotional attachment. Bondage is positive thing, or no, it is positive also, negative also. Okay, tell me when it is positive, when it is negative. फिलोसोफर को घुमा नहीं सकते आप, उसके पास हजार तरीके रहते हैं टू ब्रिंग यू टू द पॉइंट. No problem. You can see that's absolutely okay. Whatever your things are, ultimately, we will be taking whatever the philosophers mean by this word later on. Yes, Socrates, you are right. Purusha consciousness being male, female. Something repeated. Yes. Okay, tell me where it is good. What is good about it? No. You see, you care about them. Is it because your bondage or responsibility? See, you will be bonded to them because you are responsible for them, or because they are taking responsibility of you. Just imagine, for last 15 years you have seen, forget about society, your parents have, ऐसा नहीं होगा, but just imagination, your parents have never cared for you. You care for them, but they never care for you. जा करो जो भी करना है, हम नहीं कुछ कर सकते, independent हो जाओ, जाओ. Will you be attached to them if there is no society rule? So bondage is attachment, yes, not just material attachment, yes, but attachment to who? Okay, to whom we can get attached? Not just person, I'm talking thing. With whom or with what you have a pleasantness of experience. Can you attach something? Can you attach to Karela sabji? I like Karela sabji like anything. So कड़वा ना, मजा आता है. चाय में भी थोड़ा करेले का जूस डालना, दही, अरे दही इलायची और करेले का जूस बढ़िया लगता है, क्योंकि आई एम एडिक्टेड टू करेला. एक आध दो बंदे होंगे, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑन एन एवरेज. What things you are attached and addicted to? Addicted is a attached and addicted both the same thing, only the difference that of degree, that to that degree is also relevant to social aspect. फिलोसॉफी में दोनों एक ही चीज है. हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है अटैच्ड है या एडिक्टेड है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? फिलोसॉफी में दोनों एक ही चीज है. Negative in the consequence where the person is being exploited. Okay, with God. Okay. So attachment is generally considered positive or negative now. And especially, see, the more you, the one who likes attachment more means the person is more dependent. Because if you are like, this happens with everyone, even if you are very much attached to your parents, it's good, they have been really wonderful, they have taken a lot of efforts, which almost happens with almost all of us. Would have it has happened with you also, with me also. But the moment you start feeling the urge to be independent, दिक्कत होने लगती है, थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो जाते हैं. बहुत ही ज्यादा पॉजिटिव पेरेंट्स हैं, नहीं इधर ही कर रहे के कर लो जो भी करना है, एंड यू आर लाइक नहीं मुझे तो यूएस जाना है, दुनिया देखना है. आप तो अच्छे ही, लेकिन वर्ल्ड ऑल्सो ना, बिकॉज इंडिपेंडेंट. So independent and dependent. That's why bondage, it's about dependence, attachment. Okay, pull back, constraints, boundary, cage, okay, non-freedom. Whereas, what is the opposite to bondage? Liberation or freedom? Okay, liberation. Now tell me, is liberation positive word or negative word? Why neutral? No, no, positive, negative in the sense of aspirational I'm talking, not moral positive. Like pleasantness of experience is a positive term or slap is a positive term. Pain is a positive term. Okay, take it. Is pain positive term? Negative term. Nobody likes pain. And pleasure, a positive term. Everybody likes it. If I liberation is positive according to Socrates, but if I kind of constrain you in one room for 2-3 days, is it positive? What would you like? To liberate? So tell me any place where liberation is negative. I told you where liberation is positive. Freedom, is freedom positive or negative? तो लिबरेशन एंड फ्रीडम क्या फर्क है? एक ही शब्द है. अरे लिबर्टी से लिबरेट आया है. यू वांट लिबर्टी और लेस लिबर्टी? तो लिबरेशन इज पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव? दैट्स ओके. वो हमारे सिलेबस में भी है. वो तो न्यूआंस डिफरेंस है, लेकिन है तो दोनों पॉजिटिव है. डिफरेंस तो गुड़ और चीनी में भी है, लेकिन है तो दोनों मीठी. या कुछ कड़वा लगता है? तो डिफरेंट कोई भी दो चीजों में डिफरेंस तो मिलेगा ही. तो लिबरेशन और फ्रीडम में डिफरेंस है, लेकिन इज दैट द सेम डिफरेंस लाइक लिबरेशन एंड बॉन्डेज? देन दे आर द अपोजिट. So who likes bondage? Yes. And who likes independence? No, no. Even dependent person likes independence. The only thing is he's not capable. You ask anybody. Forget about young children. Somebody who is well grown. Ask, do you want freedom, independence, or dependence and bondage? So is necessity, need, majburi positive word or negative word? So unless you do something out of free will, there is no maza in it. I am not talking about good outcome. I am talking about your inclination. वो तो घर वालों ने खड़ी से मार मार के आपको ठीक किया होगा और उसके कारण आपके 90% आ गए बोर्ड में. वो बोलेंगे नहीं नहीं वो मार अच्छा था, लेकिन जब खा रहे थे तब तो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था. हम उस समय लग रहा था अरे इससे अच्छा तो मुझे अच्छे से समझा के पढ़ाते ये लोग, मारते थे बहुत स्कूल में. तो एनी पेन, any bondage, any suffocation is a negative term. Any doubt about it? That's you are going to paper 2. To enjoy liberation also we need some rules and boundaries. That's that is called self-defeating argument, because you yourself put boundaries and then want to liberate. Because liberation is always from some boundary only, no? Otherwise what you would liberate from? See, the moment you are saying liberation means if you want liberation means you are bonded already. Somebody already liberated, would he or she want liberation? Liberation from whom? Some bondage, no? Okay. And what you are talking about is a social construct. That there is this quote, no? My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. पेपर 2 में आता है, सेंस ऑफ इक्वालिटी, जस्टिस, लिबर्टी में. बेसिकली लिबर्टी. माय राइट टू स्विंग माय फिस्ट एंड्स वेयर योर नोज बिगिंस. जब अंगड़ाई ले रहे तो इतना ही ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि इसके बाद फिर उसके नाक में लग जाएगी. तो एवरी थिएटर में, क्लास में भी बहुत एकदम कॉम्पैक्ट क्लास है तो इतना ही करते हैं, जहाँ जहाँ जगह है वहां पे जाके. एकदम ऐसे नहीं कर सकते ना, उसको लग जाएगी. तो बेसिकली क्या है? लिबरेशन, I mean liberty has limits. That is social phenomenon. But if your liberty has nothing to do with the other person, where is the limit? If you, this is outward liberty we're talking about, that is paper 2. Here, bondage is also inner, freedom is also inner. So where is the liberty? Where is the limit? There is no limit. Even nirvana is also not limit. Nirvana is the name given to unlimited. जैसे मैं अगर बोल दूं कि इनफाइनाइट इज द ओनली लिमिट, मतलब लिमिट नहीं है. गेटिंग पॉइंट और नॉट? Brahm is infinite, yes, and I am saying Brahm is the limit, means there is no limit. वो तो बस आइडिया ना, चेंज इज जस्ट एन आइडिया. देयर इज नो थिंग इन द वर्ल्ड इज दैट इज कांस्टेंट. ओके, so basically now what is bondage? Very important word and good thing that you yourself told people. Forget about dependency or anything. Everybody in Indian philosophy except Charvak says anything that you have a pleasurable sensation with, you will always be addicted to. You do whatever. Whatever means whatever. That's how your body and mind is made up of. So, 5 senses plus manas. See, I'll tell you. There are two explanations for this. Number one might be they are mentally literally ill. We can't, mentally ill people cannot be considered as a normal rational people. Whatever we discuss in philosophy is about rational people. What then idiot can do, fool can do, that's a different story. One thing. So if somebody is mentally disturbed heavily, then he himself is a case. Second, what happens is that is a human tendency. What happens, this is a very moral kind of thing. You have been listening that you are attached to food, you are attached to sex, you are attached to some other pleasurable things. And society keeps on telling you that this is not as, like, if you do this, you are something lowly. Right? So some people have very reactionary approach toward these things. So somebody who can run behind physical pleasures is lowly. Let me show you, I will run behind the pain. You will call me great. So the feeling of attachment to be called to great, they go through that pain. That might be religious or egoistic, whichever way. I want to go through pain. Why? I'll show you how great I am. They will not say it. There is a sense of moral superiority that they have. You know, see, I can, and basically, it's not just about this. There is something called thrill. So anything that other human being or average human being is not able to do, there is always a attachment to do that. Adventure sport. इधर से jump करके दो, मर जाऊंगा, अरे कोई बात नहीं. Because they are attached to that ego, sense of self-respect and the self-praise. You stop giving attention to that person, he will stop doing it. Or you will stop supplying to that person about this being moral means being painful. You will stop doing it. Everything. All the so-called, difficult tasks is always ego-centered. So ego, and it works. Many people work. Within social phenomena, all these things work. So he is not happy to pain himself. It's not doing so that pain बढ़ जाए. He's doing for some other purpose. And some people do it for God. मुहर्रम में जो खुद को पीटते हैं वो गॉड के लिए. क्रिश्चियनिटी में भी कुछ ऐसा है. खुद को मारने का, वो कील वाले इससे। हाँ हाँ, वो हाँ यस, वो मैं भी भूल गया उनका। तो द पॉइंट इज दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टफ is for some other purpose they are doing it. They are not doing it so that my pain increases. Nobody does that. So that my pain increases is also for some other purpose. Always. So, five senses and manas. Now, somebody who put a lot of thought, many philosophers, they realize it's all attachment and pleasure and all, it's all coming from these five doors, six doors. Okay, then let's start work on this, because they realize attachment में कुछ नहीं है. You know, there are only two tragedies in life. There is this famous quote. There are only two tragedies in life. One is not to have what you want, and second to have it. Talk to people who are selected and posted. You will be like dying to get into the list. And they are like, sure kar lo. Even those who have got home cadre, meet them after 5 years, not immediately. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just telling you. And that will happen. You do whatever in your life, it will happen. Okay, another 5-10 years you ask Modi ji also, he's like, I'm just on the about to go to my samadhi, another 10-15, whatever years, like we hope that he'll live long, but still he knows. In fact, he would know it better because he's a Nessie kind of person, so he understands death to hai samne hi. In fact, this is realized by many that if you're aware about the death or end of life daily basis, it enhances your capacity to work bravely. And this in existential philosophy, even this Martin Heidegger, who explains the introduction to the death is the first step towards liberation. क्योंकि मरना तो वैसे भी है ही, क्या टेंशन लेना, कुछ भी करके तो मरना ही है. और अभी तो और ज्यादा रिलैक्स है, क्योंकि हम कितना भी कुछ भी कर ले 50-60 साल में ये तो एनवायरनमेंट तो पूरा वाट लगने वाला. यू डू वॉट एवर द वे वी आर स्पीडिंग अप. Mumbai is going to be under water, Goa is under water, Lakshadweep, all coral reefs will become khatam. So and we know this is going to happen anyway. You try to stop pollution and all that, everything. And Elon Musk will take some 1,000 people to Mars and they'll live there. So point is doomsday and all that. So, and even if that doomsday doesn't come, you are anyway going to be doomed. No, another, according to whatever your age is, just add some 70, 50, 70, 80 years. You do whatever you go. No. So this realization, that day also I said, no, as long as there is death, the spirituality will never go away, and religion also will never. And this is exactly said by no, just a person before him. Tatra. Fear of death will make you religious anyway. That's why in our this thing, generally after 60 people become more religious. That is very natural, because they can see death in front of them now. Okay. Yes, there is one more thing with respect to liberation. As I said, law of karma. Yesterday also we mentioned this. Law of karma means, now law of karma automatically assumes the another doctrine, that is rebirth. Because some of the actions that you do now, you're going to get the fruits out of it. But if you do something just before dying, when we are going to face it? Next जन्म you're going. तो कब तक चलता रहेगा? तो इसलिए बुद्धा and everybody, first thing that they try to tell you that please try to understand that life is a suffering. Don't be in misconception that life is a enjoyment. Life is not enjoyment. It is a suffering. It is like the shadow below the lamp. It looks like lamp, but if you go beneath every lamp there is a shadow. Like that, beneath every pleasurable thing there is a suffering. Buddha said this. So everything is a suffering. So if bar if you are coming birth rebirth, so you will suffer. English wala suffer. So how to avoid, because nobody likes suffering, nobody likes pain. How to come out of it? How? Break this cycle. How would you break this cycle? Liberation, nirvana, yes. Nirvana and other things. Keval Gyan, Brahm. Now, most of us, because lack of information, we are like, life is suffering थोड़ी हम बढ़िया तो चल रहा है लाइफ और क्या चाहिए, right? That is because उसके फिर बहुत psychological theories वगैरह भी हैं. Because you have never tasted the better happiness, you are okay with the lower happiness. That's the meaning. When you realize, oh, real happiness lies there, you will never come back and think that, oh, I want to go back and live. Like worst, I thank God I came out of all that. I wasted my time. It happens. Or even with respect to some food or something. Because of the economic situation, we eat some 50 rupees stuff. And this is just for example. Sometimes 50 rupees stuff is also much more tastier than 200 rupees stuff that we know. But just for sake of example, I'm saying. But then when you experience something, you're like, oh, this experience is such a great experience. Although I was wasting time in that 50 rupees thing. But for that, you have to reach till in your economic situation somewhere, like you can afford 200 rupees thing, for example. Healthy hai, hygienic hai, tasty bhi. Just for example, here the whole life changes. You become more moral, more happy, more streamlined, less dilemmas, more respected in the society, more comfortable and healthy inside your body the way you feel it. Everything becomes perfect. You consume less, automatic. Everything will happen. Now, this is the thing. That morality is a product of forced, regulated behavior from outside. That will study in paper 4 also. These fellows become moral by their own happiness. Okay, I'll give you a small example. If you are very happy because of some reason in the morning and you are walking to the class, if some beggar or somebody meets you, asks you, automatically the inclination to give, I'm not saying you will give it not, inclination to give increases when you're happy. And you feel good about it. This happens. हाँ बोलना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो मैं सोचूंगा आप कभी किसी को पैसे 2 रुपए भी नहीं दिए. ओके, बट वही है कि घर में किसी ने कुछ बोला, वो इतना परेशान है जिंदगी में, अभी शाम तक तो घर नहीं जा रहा मैं, बहुत पका दिया लोगों ने, सब निगेटिव चल रहा है जिंदगी में. कोई बेगर पूछे, अरे जाओ यार दिमाग. Why? Because when you are happy, then only you can distribute happiness. And distributing happiness is for all. And distributing happiness automatically reduces suffering. It's not always in the form of money. You will never know, even if you don't have money, but if you are very, very happy, you will give something to the beggar that you will not realize what. Nirvana is ultimate happiness. That we'll see in Nirvana. There is this concept called dual benefit of Nirvana. To get rid of this suffering is one thing, and to have joy is another thing. Two steps you suddenly take. To get rid of the negative thing that suffering is, and to get something positive. Suddenly. So that's what happened when you see the result list, name of your name into the list. Both the things gone. The suffering of ORN is gone. पढ़ाई, घर से पैसे मांगना वो सब, एंड सैलरी भी शुरू हो गया. समाज में ये भी बढ़ गया. डबल बेनिफिट. दुनिया में सब चीज डबल बेनिफिट ही होती है. वही ना कि एक बार मिल गया तो फिर दो तीन चीजें एक साथ हो जाती. तो पॉइंट इज, व्हेन यू आर हैप्पी यू आर ऑटोमेटिकली मोर. ये बस ऐसे ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं, ये कुछ सिलेबस में ऐसे लिखना नहीं है, मैं बस बिकॉज यू आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन आई एम सेइंग. So to keep yourself, but this happiness basically it's about joy. Now, joy and pleasure, there is a difference. Joy means, see, normally if you see, same, both give you pleasantness. That is correct. Happiness, pleasantness, जैसे भी नाम, positive something. But pleasure is material dependent happiness. Material dependent, and this is immaterial or non-material. Non-material is called, in philosophy, non-material is called spiritual dependent. Pleasure is outside in. Joy is inside out. ये सिलेबस का नहीं है, ऐसे ही मैं फिलोसॉफी एक पर्सपेक्टिव से बता रहा हूँ, क्योंकि आपकी पढ़ाई के समय भी थोड़ा सा आपको ऐसा, हाउ टू कीप योरसेल्फ, दैट्स व्हाई. So keeping yourself joyful is your responsibility, not keeping yourself experience or providing yourself more and more pleasure. That's your not that is not your responsibility, because if you do this, then you would be happy for some time, but by that time you consumed a lot of material, and then you have created enemies, you have created competitors. So if you are material dependent, means not even a single rupee can go out of you, because you know that even rupee will give me pleasantness tomorrow if you have a wonderful coffee or something like that. We need money for that. But for joy, you don't need money. Basic needs, you need money. Everybody accepts that. Even Dalai Lama today is living, he is accepting that. Everybody accepting that. Even Buddha went and Bhiksham Dehi. Everybody, all the Rishi Munis asked Bhiksha, why? Sustenance of the body, everybody accepts. But beyond that, pleasure. So joy, it's automatic. And half of the joy comes in, see, if you like, for example, many people do this, like what Mahatma Gandhi also propagated, the simplicity. So what happens? Simplicity gives you sense of joy because of its very nature. You feel good about yourself. Half of your tension is gone. Now you don't need to earn that much money. No, you are living anyway simplicity. So half of the tension is gone like that. Oh, I am getting this much. Many people, and in fact, I'll tell you, few people crave for money in India even today, and most of the people, or higher number of people actually, they are very much contained. There is this word called contentment in Indian. This thing very much important. हम हमारी दादी माँ वगैरह से हमेशा सुना है संतोष. You know what is संतोष? कितना है, ठीक है, देखा जाएगा. कंटेनमेंट का हैप्पीनेस ही अलग रहता है. Because there's a sense of liberate this thing. You're not craving and desperate about things. You're like, relax, it's okay, no problem. To some extent, richness nahi. Material need, basic needs, they are required. Otherwise, it will go negative. No, not at all. बाद अभी देखो हम वो ग्रो करके रियलाइज करके स्पिरिचुअलिटी पे आए थे. See, we had already built temples and forts and everything and dams and everything. And we are like इससे ज्यादा करेंगे तो एनवायरमेंट खराब करेंगे, छोड़ो. उनको अभी समझ में नहीं आ रहा, अभी आ रहा है समझ में, वो वही उसी में है. Because their knowledge, see, I straight away criticize Western thinking only because of this reason. Their thinking is very intellectual, isolated, not experiential. If somebody is in detail writing how to make Viman in Shiv Puran, why didn't they actually try for it? They would have tried, but all the technology is written. How? Like how it will go, what will start, how much distance it will go, that much details it is given. Why? How can they create such a pillar which is yet to be rusted for 1,000 years? What kind of material they are using? We don't know now, even now. So somewhere I think when you realize things and then search for knowledge, your knowledge is always wholesome. If you go one behind one, so you have diabetic tablets for blood pressure. After some time you realize, okay, kidney is failing. Okay, then run behind kidney, then something else is failing. Because your approach is very narrow. It's not holistic. That's the difference between allopathy and Ayurveda. I agree that sudden something happens, operation or something, obviously allopathy has to be. Anyway, our lifestyle is such that allopathy has to go for. Because everything happens sudden only. Because Ayurveda means you have to first start off with lifestyle changes. So, because it's a Indian mind till now has always been wholesome, to the extent possible, not discretionary, not okay, only this much, now this much, now this. So, the dynamic organic approach is what. So, towards everything, I think we had this approach, but let us see how it goes. So, that I do not agree. But yes, it's like this now. You have, as a society, you have evolved to such a situation where perhaps you don't need guns and talwars in your hands. Suddenly, the whole of Taliban attacks you. What will you do? 7 generations have never, held talwar in their hand. Or to extent possible, very less, only few people were there. How would you fight? You can't do anything. So you have to again reverse everything, retrain yourself, and then only somebody like Chhatrapati Shivaji comes up again. Otherwise, everybody is like, relax, why to fight? People are walking, Brahman is like a best possible thing people used to do. From Kerala, people are going to Vaishnav Devi. That time also, Shankaracharya is coming to Kashi, going back, again coming to Kashi, going to Puri, going to Somnath, creating mutt. Why? How can nobody stop him? Who are you? We are from south. No, go from. Even today, many places we see that he is from outside. This was not the case before. Why? No, why to worry? It's okay, like that. But now, people thought, no, let's come back and fight and then again. So now that's why people are saying now the way we are again coming, we are on the positive line. India is a nation in making in this context. We are again going back to that, perhaps we don't know, we hope spiritual heights and other things. Let's hope, because for an Indian mind, the best thing is the climate here. We enjoy it. I'm sure, because we always support, what we can say, supported by the climate around, always, to grow and prosper. That helped India to grow in their spiritual system. Okay. Anything else? So details we would certainly see what liberation is, how it is done and things like that. Everybody has their own way of. Now, abhi tak whatever we have discussed is very general. So just to have a hang of what it is, because that approach is very important. But one by one, we have to also go into the details, one by one philosopher, and then you will understand what basically is. I hope on an average you are having a picture as to what the philosophers have been doing and why have they been doing. You know, like the point that you talked about is the same point like secularism. What is the meaning of secularism and from where it came? It came in the Western world. When church had army and kings have army, they were fighting between themselves. And people are dying. So some people came together and said, okay, let's decide whose forte is what. This revenue, blah, 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 king will decide. The church management, church will decide. So king will not do anything to the church, church will not do anything to the king. Let's be peaceful. That is called secularism. From there, the word secular, state should be secular, means state should not enter into church's matter. Darshan is saying, had India followed what's in Vedas, we would have been a better. Yes, and we will do it. Don't worry. You are there, we are there. Our responsibility also to some extent. So now you are bringing secularism here, which is applicable there. We never had church or something of that sort in a Hindu version, fighting with gods, kings. We had consultants as Rishi, Munis and Brahmins as a consultant to kings. They never fought. And especially the Rishi, Munis or Brahmins or whatever priest, they had social status only if they keep themselves poor. Like Chanakya, Kautilya, will live in a small hut. He will not live in Raj Mahal. There are two benefits to it. One, that there is no conflict of interest because मुझे कुछ पैसा कमाना ही नहीं है, क्या दिक्कत है? So king can clearly ask me what to do because I have no personal interest. Number one. Number two, that we talked about here, less materialism means spiritualism or spiritual and awakening is easy. You don't get into, you have time, a lot of time in the world. If you stop eating, like if you're eating 3 times a day, if you start eating 1 time a day, you will start feeling that I have time. It's not time in दुनिया में, दिन में मतलब time ही एक ही बार खाना खाना है मान के चलो. Don't do it. I'm just, you have a lot of time. Only one simple act, because खर्चा भी नहीं है फिर और इतना जरूरत भी नहीं है. Okay. So no, don't worry. Swami Dayanand Saraswati gave a call. वो तो होते रहेंगे, इतना बड़ा देश है, करेंगे, हो जाएगा. So what I'm saying is that division between religion and state was never there. So we never discussed about secularism. In fact, we had rules for what a Brahmin should do, what a Kshatriya should do as a Varna. I'm not talking about Jat. So Brahmin should not earn money. Brahmin should never do Vyapar. You know this. They are not allowed because their job is intellectual. How would you see if you come to know, even today, some intellectual, some academician, he is getting into earning 300 crore, 400 crore. How would you look at him? Even now, some JNU professor, and he is also doing some business, and he is earning some 100 crore. How would you look at it? That doesn't go, and this is not just India, other places also. They'll get salary, they'll get enough, but they are expected not to get into the business. You do your job, right? Even players and Bollywood players, actors and other artistic fellows, we don't expect them to be in business. They are, but their financial managers are, but we don't like it. If somebody is remaining simple also, we like it more because then he or she is focusing more on the work. That's what the thing was. But then we thought that no, we need secularism. That's another debate. By the way, this is part of syllabus also. Paper 2, secularism word is also there. Secularism word was never mentioned in the initial constitution. Why? Secularism is not, socialism is different thing. Why secularism was not mentioned? Okay, you know that there was no word socialism in, and it was added, secularism, sorry, added in 1974 I think, 73 जो भी रहे, 76, no 76 में तो उल्टा हो गया वो, 42nd 43rd इमरजेंसी के, ठीक है, हो सकता है इमरजेंसी के दौरान, बिकॉज सिंपल, theoretically Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar and other committee members, country cannot be secular and also have minority. You go and watch the debates, you will understand. You cannot be secular and then talk about minorities. Because if state is not giving recognition to any particular religion, what is the concept of minority or secularism? समझ में आ रहा है? Making sense or not? So this is exactly what, yes. It is almost defined, no? 25, 26, 27. Yes. Now this Indian secularism concept, Western secularism concept is also new concept. See, if you, what do you mean by Indian gravity and Western gravity is different? Indian phenomenalism and Western phenomenalism would be different. So we created, you should have created some other word, no? Pluralism, if not secularism. Secularism is, yes, that is correct. Because constitutional makers thought of minorities rather than putting the state away from any religion. Yes. So even our version of secularism also, if we take, that's a different story, we'll discuss that sarva dharma samava rather than no religion. Okay, so treatment, equal treatment to every religion is what Indian version of secularism we talk about, and Western version is no religion. But even equal treatment you are saying, then from where the concept of minority is coming? If it was some religious state like Islamic Republic of Pakistan, then only minority makes sense, no? Christian minority, Hindu minority in Pakistan, Buddhist minority, Sikh minority, like that. Because it is Islamic Republic. If it is secular republic, basically, why the concept of minority? And this was debated. That's why secularism word was not used. Okay. Secularism was implicit. There was no need to explicitly or forcibly insert the word. It was merely political. No, that is okay. वो तो political, every politician would do. So the point is, in fact, I would say that secularism was not implicit. It was pluralism which was implicit, or multiculturalism. Not secularism, because the word secularism somebody created in English. It has some specific meaning. You are bringing, no, it means this. There is another word they have created for this. Pluralism. Manyness. Okay, everybody is equal. State has no religion. Everybody will, state have, basically state recognize many religions. Pluralism. I don't know why. They just under the influence of, obviously we were under the influence of British heavily. We have to give that much, what we can say, benefit of doubt to these people in the power that time. I mean post-independence, because they had no option that time. But now at least we should understand things. Now we are becoming important, one of the important nations in the world. Okay. Any doubt? Otherwise, I am done from my side today. Yes. That's it. No, that was just no need to conclude. Just even if not conclude, also okay. See, I'm just brainstorming for you to open these things. Okay, something like this also happens. These are new things. Once you get into the system, because what happens, last batches we realize that sometimes what happens, I start using technical terms because हम भी तो करना है, तो एक साल तो नहीं पढ़ना है ना. But then I realized that it would have been better if I little bit at least have a glimpse of, have a taste of these words to you. It will be easy for you to, because next time when I will use bondage and all is bakwas, liberation is bakwas. When we talk about bondage, liberation is actually mukti, moksha, nirvana, that kind of stuff. And slowly once you revise, you will understand everything. Okay. So online folks also, if you have some question, please ask. Otherwise, I am done from my side. So that a possible majority rule on the religion doesn't come to suppress other minorities. That's why they focus on pluralism. Yes, that is always there, and especially 1947 we already had these similar things, violence and things like that. So people were like, we have to be extra careful about reducing the rift between, especially between Hindu Muslim, because you had so many riots and so many killings and so many stuff and partition. In the backdrop of partition, it's very difficult to keep the country. It's not easy, and such a big country, it's very difficult. To that extent, we have to understand that something substantially better managed it was during the Nehru's period, especially with Nehru's period. Later, obviously later on politics, and as and when you become more independent, जैसे होता है ना कि जिस घर में थोड़ा पैसा आ जाता है तो और ड्रिफ्ट बढ़ जाती है ना, कि अभी पहले कुछ नहीं था तो सब एक साथ थे, वो होता ही है. Now तो it will become more, but that's okay, that will be internal. If you stick to constitution, whatever struggle we do, whatever fight we do, back at the mind you should be doing that. Okay, constitution is there. India is 5,000 years for civilization. If that idea is there, whatever fight we will resolve. That should be the approach. Okay, and yes, always, as long as you are UPSC thing, always avoid political comment, even if it is true. Like, and as long as you are into the ORN and you are into the UPSC preparation, avoid political discussions also to the extent possible. Now, when I say political, means not related to policy. Policy you discuss, but don't bring in any politician into it. Any, good, bad, don't. If at all you want to, like, you can bring in Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, not as a politicians. Gandhi as a thinker, leader and all that. Ambedkar as a thinker, leader, like that. Not as a politician. You not even paper, not during preparation, not in philosophy, not in GS also. And if at all you want to bring in, as I said, ethics, you can bring in Gandhi as a moral, this thing, that thing, and Ambedkar as social justice, or Vivekananda, everybody. Savarkar also you can quote to the extent of whatever is positive about. Politics, because then you can do it later aram se. Zindagi par wo to karna hi hai. So it happens, especially GS2 when you read, or what is this, post-independence thing, Indira Gandhi ne ye galat kiya, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ne ye galat kiya, sahi kiya. Leave it. Personalities don't discuss. Forces you discuss. And socio-political also, these things. Be proud about whatever we have been, but no need to be politically this thing. This unnecessarily, and this may take away a lot of time of yours also while preparation. No need to do that. Once you selected, you can decide your political inclination. Not an issue. Now, just know it and be what we can neutral. Okay. I think there is no question from the online folks also. So, thank you very much. The next class will be on Monday, same time. It won't be YouTube live. So those who are now on YouTube live, you will be given a link on Zoom. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.